You're listening to WECS, Something Different. Something different indeed. We've already played a song by Spring Standards already. Here we go. And lucky you get to listen to them live right here in the studio through the phone lines. How are you? How is everybody? We've got Heather and James, right?
Yes.
Is it James 1 or James 2?
Yes, there is another James. He's actually napping in the back of the van.
Oh, okay. We'll talk softly then.
But the trick is that you don't know which James it is. That's part of the fun of having two band members with the same name. And when we do interviews.
All right, so let me see if I can guess by the end of the interview then.
For me to sabotage James Cleare, I can just be like, yeah, I'm James Cleare. Look at me. That's what I'm going to do.
James, you're coming through very scratchy.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
That's probably my voice.
I think it's just the technology. It's not you.
Yeah.
So how is everything on the road? You're traveling from Lexington, Kentucky, all the way up to Ohio right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Everything actually is very smooth. We've been focusing, in the last couple months, we've really been focusing on our new album, and we've done some one-offs here and there, but we've been touring much less than we typically do. So this is like a nice little kind of getting our toes wet. We've got about 5 days out on the road in this batch that we're in the middle of right now, and then we're home for about a week, just over that, and then we do a big tour out to South by Southwest.
Excellent. That I always wanted to go down there and see that see the South by Southwest.
It's so fun. It's sort of it's you go down and you're like, this is a professional decision, but then it's just it's debaucherous. But in all the right ways.
Yes, because you have to network with other bands and the fans to learn more, right?
Exactly. It's a huge networking opportunity. We've met a lot of bands that we've toured with as a result of kind of rubbing elbows down there. Great band that we toured with last spring called Ha Ha Tonka. We met them for the first time down at South by Southwest. So it's a great way to make connections and build relationships and just have a lot of fun and get a really wide sort of experience of like where the music business is at and what people are doing, and you get just every kind down there, which is great to see.
Excellent. That's definitely a hub for music, and I was always wanted to go to like the CMJ big festival during the in the fall they usually have one.
You're pretty close for that one, yeah?
Yes, we are. Yep.
Yeah, CMJ is fun. I mean, for us, it's a little different because I think there's something about going to South by Southwest. For a New York City band, it's so great to be out of your element, in a totally different climate and totally different part of the world. Whereas with CMJ, it's kind of like going to the clubs that we're all at every single night anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that same sort of other appeal, but it is a great festival as well. Yeah. Excellent.
Now, you let me give you a little background to everybody. There's 3 of you in the band. You knew each other in high school, all right?
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of high school, you went your separate ways, and then eventually you kind of all ended up in New York City, and you got back together, and here you are in the band, right?
Yeah.
That's right on. Yeah, we all went to school for different things, and then came back to New York. Well, not came back, went to New York, traveled to the big city, went back there and just realized we were all there, realized we were all there for completely different reasons. We got back together and started hanging out, and then, guitars came out, and that's sort of where we started again.
That's really cool. Did you play before you went to New York?
Oh, yeah. We were, like some little twerps in our tweens, learning James Taylor covers from a very early age.
Wow.
We were, 15 when we started playing music together and started singing together the first time. So, a lot of that foundation and a lot of those roots were still there when we came back together and sort of found the common ground again.
That's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people, for that reason, I think a lot of people always assume that some of us are related or have some sort of family band kind of vibe going on, because in a lot of ways, we do sort of function as one. I certainly think of them as 2 brothers named James in some odd reality.
One a slightly cooler James.
One a slightly cooler James, obviously. But yeah, we really feel lucky.
it's cool, and I think it comes through in your music and then through the videos that you really click together, that you do well playing together.
Oh, thanks. That's really good to hear. Yeah, we luckily, I mean, I think the most important thing for any touring band really is having a sense of humor, and I think that's one thing that we share all the time. You know, it's like we'll have our little tiffs like any other band or whatever, but at the end of the day, you know, these two guys can make me laugh more than anybody else in the world, and so I think a lot of our weird videos on YouTube and strange sort of things that amuse us and maybe a handful of other people, you know, really that sort of sense of comedy and our shared sort of sense of humor comes through, I think, in those videos, and I think it actually comes through on stage a lot as well. Sometimes we'll go off on bantering rambles for like 10 minutes, and our tour manager has to rein us back in and be like, hey guys, you have a half-hour set, and you were just talking about nonsense for 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good to hear from you that comes through, and we feel that way too.
And I think the videos that you have are very silly indeed, especially the one where you have the cool fan tribute video. Did you have like all your fans like send in videos of them listening to your music and kind of lip syncing your music?
Oh yeah.
Oh, reply.
Yeah, that was just kind of like a fun experiment that we decided to launch last year. We, you know, that song, a lot of people just really love that song, and it's one of our older catalog numbers, and it's a really easy song to learn. It's like a, you know, it's like a 3-chord song with, you know, very few lyrics and stuff. So we thought that'd be a fun one to kind of open up to fans. And there's like no profanity or anything, so we were like, and it's fun for kids too.
Yay.
So we asked fans to make their own homespun videos of themselves singing that song, and we had, you know, a whole range of, you know, from people doing it kind of in their like room on their laptops to people doing a lot of things like in the woods or in their backyard, or, you know, entire sort of concept-based things. It was really neat to see how creative people got with it, and for us it was just fun to see. You know, we didn't set any ground rules for them at all. And then we just got to weave it all together and kind of make a fun little package. So that was a really fun project.
I hope you do it again. It was fun to watch.
Oh, thanks.
What can people expect to see when they go to one of your shows? Anything different? Do you, like you said, you talk a lot in between the songs?
What was the last thing you said?
I noticed that you said that you talk a lot in between the songs, but is there anything like that makes you different on your shows that people have to go out and see?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, it's other than the profanity, the nudity, and the fireworks that we always have at every show. We usually set ourselves on fire and run on and off.
Cool.
Totally kidding. We have, I don't know, we have like we don't have a drummer. You know, we don't have a drummer. That's one thing that often people like to comment on. We don't. We share the drum set. So, you know, one person on one side will be kicking the kick drum. And then the person on the other side, stage right, has hi-hats, you know, and then Heather will be smacking away at the snare and a tom drum. And while we're doing this, we're all, you know, also playing the bass or the guitar, or Heather's playing the keys and things like that. So we have the drum set set up at the front, sort of like a big wall of instruments. I've
noticed a lot lately, bands lately, I think in this past couple of years, that a lot of bands are small, like 2, 3, 4 people. There's always seems to be a female lead singer, and the instruments, like you were saying, it's not always the traditional roles where you have a drummer, a bass player, a guitar player, and a singer. Sometimes people are like switching instruments and switching up like the drum set and playing a couple of each of the, you know, key components. Do you notice that when you see a lot of the other bands that you're, you know, on the road with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know why it's happening sort of now, because I've seen it before. You know, I love when we go on the road and we just see, you know, I saw recently a band that would consist of a hammered dulcimer, you know, a 6-string bass, and an instrument I've never seen before. And they were sort of playing funk music, you know, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen, but it was so interesting to watch, and I was just blown away. But oftentimes, you know, I think I think it is definitely a time where people are experimenting with different setups, you know, other than the classic, you know, 4 rhythm guitar, lead guitar, bass guitar, and then drums, and like one lead singer. That used to be a sort of like a 90s way, I guess.
It does, quite the contradiction.
Now people are really trying to break molds, and sometimes it gets a little intense and they sort of miss the mark. And sometimes people break molds in such a unique way that you really can get interested in them, And I sometimes I really love, because you see when we're on the road, we see a lot of bands. We see a lot of bands play, and sometimes when you see that classic setup, it takes it to be like a really good band or something really, really captivating to get our attention or to get my attention. And not just in like a shticky way, like just if they're just a straightforward what you'd think of as a quote unquote like 4-piece Beatles-esque band, then they have to be really good. There has to be something really, really amazing about it for me to be like, oh, this is awesome, But sometimes I think people are now sort of attacking it from different angles, not just being like, well, we write amazing songs, we write amazing this and that. They're trying to say, we can do all this stuff and all this stuff, and let's just do everything we can and push ourselves to do as much as we can in different ways and just have a great time. I mean, that's why we do the setup we do. We never really thought about it. It just sort of happened. We had extra beat. We never really thought about having a drummer. And it didn't ever come into our mind. It wasn't ever really conscious,
Yeah, and it works. And it works that you don't have one.
Yeah, well, there you go, and it's just interesting because we just keep pushing ourselves to explore, and that's part of what we love. We love to keep ourselves interested, and that's one minutia, but that's one way we keep ourselves interested. Like, how the heck are we going to play this song, where we want to do these parts that we've arranged, and how are we going to play it with these people that we have here to do this now? And it's really awesome. It keeps us really interested, so we keep being excited about the music that we're playing. And after you play the same song a billion times, it can start to get a little like, okay, but you still put the fire under the belly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep adding and keep thinking about stuff, it keeps it really fresh and exciting. So that's one reason,
Excellent. Now, what gave you the idea? We were playing Queen of the Lot, and I noticed that you had one video, and then all of a sudden you had a new video with puppets. What gave you the idea to do the puppet video?
The puppet video came from a fan actually who builds puppets. That's his art, and he is incredibly talented and has been a fan for a while. And then one day, sort of out of the blue, was just like, hey, if I were to build some puppets for you guys, would you use them in a video? And who's going to say no to
yeah,
puppets
like weirdly look
like you? So we said yes, of course. And so then and he sent us updates as his creative process went on, and with each photo we became more and more equal parts disturbed and delighted by these things that were looking exactly like us. And then, he gave us the finished product, and, we were just, totally in awe of how much he sort of captured the essence, everything down to, the clothing choices and stuff. So, and then we just decided, Queen of the Lot was one of the songs that I think people really connected with on the last record, and so we thought it would be a fun way to represent that song. It has a playful feeling. It has, sort of a fun kind of character-driven narrative, and we thought that the puppets would complement that, and we're really happy with it.
What was the first video you were talking about? Actually, I can't remember. Is it the one in the park?
Flamey on Mirrors, yeah.
Was it the one in the park?
I forget exactly. I don't think it was in the park. Oh no, yeah. It seems like a lot of your videos are in the park.
Yeah. There you go. That was specific to they were actually in New York. There was sort of like an installation piece / public art. It was called "Play Me, I'm Yours."
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically this guy put all these pianos all around New York in different boroughs in Brooklyn. He had them in Manhattan. He had them in the Bronx. He had them everywhere. He had just set up all these pianos all over New York. I think there were how many were there? 30 or something insane. Tons of pianos.
It's a traveling exhibit. It's been all over the world.
Wow.
So he did it in New York, and we were like, this is actually amazing because people can just there's someone in charge of coming. And they lock the piano at night. it's amazing, and we were like, this is something that needs to be supported in any way we can, and also it's just cool for us to play with, so we did a series of the Play Me on Mirrors videos. We have like 3 of them, I think, and we went around to the different pianos and played our songs on these pianos. So that was the first sort of Queen of the Lot thing. It was mainly because we wanted to do it as part of a series to play with these pianos that
that's cool.
The person just set up.
Is part of that exhibit, did they record any of the, like, if somebody walks up to a piano and starts playing, does it record it?
A lot of individuals, we weren't the only band that had the idea that we had. There's a ton of videos by bands or individual, singer-songwriters from when it was in New York, and I think from all over the world. I don't think there's any part of the official art piece that includes video, but I know that a lot of the responses have been via video, and you can definitely find them on the internet.
That's cool. I'm gonna look that up for sure. All right, I've got one last question that I have to ask. I ask everybody. I'm doing a survey.
Okay.
With you being on the road quite often and traveling from sea to shining sea, do you ever have to stop at a favorite joint to have a favorite ice cream or your favorite burger or some other favorite comfort food?
The first thing that comes into my mind is sort of it's actually a hometown. Well, it's just
hometown.
It's we all grew up, as we said, we all grew up together in the same area, and there's a sandwich shop out of Delaware called Capriotti's, and it's like a sub shop. It's in Delaware and Pennsylvania, and then randomly scattered in other places. We randomly saw one. I don't even remember where we were.
In Vegas.
There's one in Vegas. There was one where Milwaukee had one. We were like, what?
Whoa.
And our tour manager is not as into them as we are, but we think it's because we grew up with it. It has that nostalgic sort of pull. Plus, if you're from anywhere around Philly, you have a special appreciation for subs or hoagies.
Yep.
So that, I think, would be probably our favorite, most special meal, although it looks like James has another one to add.
The other one is, so that's sort of our East Coast thing. I would say when we're on the West Coast, whenever we're in an area, it is In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, yeah.
In-N-Out Burger? I think
In-N-Out Burger is just the best.
I think I've heard of them, yeah.
What's that?
I think that I've heard of the name before. I've never seen them, though.
You really have never?
No, never.
Oh, an In-N-Out Burger? Oh, my goodness.
It's fast food, but it's the best fast food in the country.
Really, really
what
cheap.
separates it for something like McDonald's, then?
It's not McDonald's because it's famous and it's always all the they're always packed. You know what I mean? It's like a fast food joint that is quality, but it's always full, and you always have to wait a little bit. And they're all over the place. But everyone I've ever been into, you've always had to wait a tiny bit.
Sounds like a good place to go, then.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Heather and James. And when James 2 wakes up, tell him I said hi.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
You got a new album coming out in May. It's a double CD, right? Yellow and gold.
Yeah, double EP. Yep.
We'll be looking forward to that in May for sure. Are you going to be touring anywhere in this area in the Northeast?
We're working at a tour right now, actually in June with Rhett Miller. So details on that will be coming out in the not too distant future.
Excellent. Can't wait to hear it.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
Can you stay on the line?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
All right. Thanks a lot. Heather and James from Spring Standards right here on the show. Okay, let's do a song of theirs, Queen of the Lot. We were just talking about it. This is a wonderful song. Stay tuned. We'll be back with something silly coming up.